Solar incentives appear to be dead in the Senate during the reconciliation process. The state of Illinois has set a goal of 40% renewable energy by the year 2030, and Mississippi has raised the cap on the amount of households that can net meter solar within that state. I'm Jay Warmke from Blue Rock Station, and this is the news of solar for this week, for the week of July 18th. Well, apparently Senator Joe Manchin has once again stepped forward as the lone dissenting Democratic voice in the Senate, where all of the Republicans have voted against inclusion of climate-related and renewable energy goals that were set to be incorporated within the reconciliation process in the U.S. Senate. Joe Manchin came out against these as well. Now, it's a little bit unclear as to what is included in them. I'm sure somebody knows, but they're not telling us. Anyway, what it does contain is a direct payment provision where those companies that would not qualify for investment tax credit on installing solar would be paid directly. Now, Senator Manchin's office has said, listen, if you're going to be paying these companies who are not making a profit money, it's basically a corporate giveaway. And during this period of high inflation, spending a lot of money by the federal government is maybe not a good idea. Now, that's his argument against it. The solar advocates are saying this will slow down the adoption of solar within the country, and that these kinds of incentives are necessary to maintain a vibrant industry. It appears, although not 100% sure on this, that this reconciliation would also extend the investment tax credit a number of years. Right now, that tax credit is set to phase out at the end of next year for residential solar. So that was in there also, that the investment tax credit would apply to storage systems that do not have solar or wind associated with them. The state of Illinois' Commerce Commission has set a 40% goal by the year 2030. To put that in perspective, the state of Illinois currently receives about 8% of their electricity or their energy needs from renewables. They're also looking to expand the program in low-income areas, where the state would provide upfront money for low-income households and nonprofit businesses to install solar on their facilities. The Department of Energy has set up a $56 million fund to promote innovative technologies within the renewable industry. This is in addition to $20 million that was allocated last year for perovskite development. Now, perovskite is a very promising new technology that may, in fact, in the not too distant future, replace silicon as the base for solar panels. They're also, these grants that they'll be giving out are designed for companies that are looking at an innovative technology and bring it to commercial application. So it's essentially a research and development money grant. The state of Mississippi has announced that they're going to be increasing the cap for renewable energy participation within this state. Now, this is a big announcement that doesn't seem to have a lot of substance behind it. Basically, they're increasing the cap from 3% market penetration within the state to 4%. So that announcement in and of itself is not fairly dramatic. They do also state that they're looking to promote low income. Again, in looking into these provisions, it seems like it's happy talk as opposed to anything really substantive. Under their current program, the state's net metering laws require that the utilities pay essentially 2.5 cents per kilowatt hour above their avoided costs. Now, what that means is essentially what it costs them to that they would pay for the generation, or basically the wholesale generation. In looking into that, the average cost is around 3 cents a kilowatt hour. So basically, they're paying the average customer 5.5 cents per kilowatt hour for energy they export back to the grid. Low income households would receive an extra 2 cents. So that would then be 7.5 cents. Now, the average utility payer in Mississippi currently pays about 11 cents per kilowatt hour. So their net metering law essentially says we're going to pay you about half what you pay us for electricity when you're exporting it back to the grid. And in the world of new products, I found this interesting because we've been used to over the years, this is a relatively new industry, seeing innovations in solar modules, in inverters or whatever. But now all of the new products are much more nuanced. For instance, Tigo has announced that they've got module-level power electronics. These are small electronic devices that attach to each solar panel. And what they've come up with is a better way for these devices to send data over the power lines. So that's a fairly nuanced new technology they're advertising. Aurora Solar is announcing that they're using artificial intelligence in some of their solar designs to better capture leads and things of that nature. A company called Rollerack has announced that they're incorporating a water management system, or basically gutters, in their ground-mounted systems to channel water away, because apparently these ground-mounted systems have resulted in quite a bit of soil erosion as water just streams off of the panels. So that's kind of interesting how that's evolving. Renogy has announced that they have new monitoring products. And basically now you're finding that companies and households can monitor and control all of the electronic devices within their system to deal with energy production as well as energy consumption or load management tools that can be handled remotely from your phone. And Energy Toolbase has announced that within their software to design systems, they now have financing options for power purchase agreements or solar leases. So it's interesting that the industry is evolving in these ways where a lot of the product announcements kind of have nothing to do with solar panels. Well, that's the news from Solar this week. We'll see you next week.